is Susan Garber, and I'm proud to be the chair of the Savage Community Association, and we are delighted to have you all as our guests this evening, and especially our special guest. Many special guests here tonight. I'd appreciate it if we could just stand for the pledge to the flag, and then we'll get on. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are going to dispense with all of our normal meeting activities so that we can get right to our town hall this evening. But for those who may have come in from a long exit or too early and may have missed the opportunity to sign in and have some refreshments, please get some before you go home this evening. And without further ado then, I would like to welcome County Executive Calvin Ball, who's bringing us lots of information tonight.
Good evening, and thank you so much for having me. I want to especially thank Susan and everyone who helped organize this. You all are always so welcoming. I also want to acknowledge we have Judge Kuchno in the audience and your Councilmember Christiana Mercer-Rigby. And let me just say, as an aside, I meet monthly with your council member, and she is a fierce advocate for you all. And oftentimes we will talk about the same thing over and over because she will not take no on your behalf. So I just wanted to thank you for that. And I wanted to just thank you personally. I know that this community hasn't gotten the attention that it deserves and that a lot of other communities have gotten over the years. And I committed to you that if you supported me, I would do what I could to support you. So we've made some progress, and I am especially appreciative of many members of my cabinet here. This is going to be an abbreviated evening. A lot is evolving very quickly with the coronavirus, and just with an abundance of caution, I want to minimize the time that we're here. But this was already scheduled, and as things are evolving, I thought it was important to at least come here and address a lot of the issues and concerns we've been talking about, and just give you a few updates. This month, we kicked off our 2030 general plan update. So that is going to be significant. I moved it up a year, so hopefully that we can have that comprehensive vision and long-range plan that looks at development, preservation, our changing demographics, and I hope that you all will be active in that process. We had, I don't know if you saw, a new roundabout that was installed at the intersection of Foundry and Washington Street. A lot of you have been advocating for a new sidewalk along Foundry Street to connect with our historic Bowman Bridge. And I hope if you don't always come out, please come out to the lighting. It is a beautiful bridge and something that helps bring people together. 6 new ADA ramps that were installed as part of that work, and we finished the final stage of the Carol Baldwin Memorial Hall that restored a lot of the important history. So, we've been making some really good progress there. We're working toward more improvements in the Savage Park, Savage Mill Trail, and the Tuxet Branch Trail. And we'll continue. We're going to continue making that progress. And we have some friends from Economic Economic Development Authority, and tourism to continue attracting folks to Savage. We had, I know some of you have heard of our EC Bucks for Ellicott City. Well, this year we also launched our Mill Money. So that hopefully brought more people to Savage Mill, which, you know, is an important tourist destination that I don't think has been getting the recognition that I think we should be getting. We have a lot of information in the back. I don't want to take much more time. I want to give you those quick updates. I want to run through some of the questions that a lot of you have been having thus far. And then please know, even though we're not going to stay long, we're going to have an abbreviated night tonight, we are at your disposal. We are going to continue working for you, partnering with you, and I will continue meeting with Christiana, even though she beats me up and says do more for Savage and North Lowell. So thank you so much. All right, so I think we start off with Raul. You kick us off? You have a...
Hi, my name is Raul Delamere, Director of Recreation and Parks, and if you've been over to the park lately, I mean, we've done a lot of improvements. We've done landscape improvements. We had
and just one of the questions was about the Savage Mill remainder.
Correct.
So wanted to make sure that you all know what my good friend's talking about.
You mean the remainder parcel of property?
Yeah, I think that's
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think with that one...
With that one, just to let you know, we are doing appraisals on that property, and we're actually waiting for the appraisals to come in, which we are hoping within the next month or so. We have those in, and most likely, if the appraisals are good, we'll look at program open space funds to go ahead and possibly purchase that property. I'm not going to take too much time, go through we have a whole list that we've done some improvements over the park. I hope you're satisfied with what you're seeing out there. And you see on the board back there, if you look, there's several items there, that, just a few items that we put on the board that we've done. Some tennis court resurfacing, water fountains. We're going to be doing some striping here in the near future in the next month or so. We're just waiting for the weather to get better, and now we can start moving on a lot of things. So, if you have any questions for me, I'm glad to answer them, or we're going to take questions at the end.
Well, I'd like to minimize them. We could maybe get your contact information with the best point of contact. We could get you more, but there's a lot on the bulletin board back there. We can let you know more about what's been done.
Sure. If you need my information, just come see me right after the meeting. I'll be here. I have some cards to give you, so just come see me. All right? Thank you.
And Raul, while you have the mic, can you talk about the partnership with the schools and STEM and education opportunities in Parkland?
Yes. What we would do, we work with the school systems to run our STEM programs if we want to have them within the park. So any programs that the community would like to see, or or the schools would like to have, if they contact us, we'll be glad to work with them as a partner and to have those programs within our natural areas, within Savage Park areas, or along the Little Patuxent.
Thank you. And Raul, can you talk a little bit about Between the Bridges too?
Yes, Between the Bridges. Matter of fact, we have a meeting tomorrow morning, I believe, with Mr. Wayne Davis and Ms. Susan Garber. So we're going to be talking about the project Between the Bridges and how we can look at the historic aspects of all that, create some historic signage on the historic sites, and as well as kind of creating a park corridor between the bridges. And I think that would be a real asset to this area.
Thanks, Raul.
You're welcome.
Let Amy go. Oh, you already got one.
He's got it.
I'm going to really have this thing smooth in about 5 minutes. All right, Amy, can you cover some of your topics?
Sure. Amy Gowan, I'm the Director for the Department of Planning and Zoning. As many of you know, for the last year or so, we've been going through a lengthy process to study the market conditions on the Route 1 corridor, to gather input from the community and through surveys to try to develop the master plan for Route 1. Unfortunately, we actually received plan at the end of the year, and it frankly didn't meet our expectations. So we're very disappointed, but we are working with the consultants, communicating with them to try to address the issues, and we're hoping that we can realize a plan that will meet the high standards for Howard County. But in the meantime, we, as County Executive Ball mentioned, we're starting our general plan, and so that is the comprehensive plan for the next 20 years, and it will set and guide land use decisions for the county. The good news is much of the information, the data, the input that we received through the Route 1 planning process can be used and shared with the consultants for the general plan. And we have a team of experts that we're very excited about, experts in environment, in transportation, in market and economic analysis. We have ag economists, a whole team of urban designers. So we're pretty excited. We're going to kick this out. We're kicking it off this month, but we'll have announcements soon how you can get involved in that process. We expect the general plan update to take about 24 months, and we hope that you'll all be involved and engaged, and there'll be lots of opportunities. So we're really excited for that. And the other kind of exciting announcement we had was that in partnership with the community, we reapplied for the Sustainable Community designation for the North Laurel Savage area, and that was approved by the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development in February. So that will be extended another 5 years. And that will make us eligible for state resources for revitalization efforts and infrastructure improvements. Probably the most notable one from the last round was the work that we did on the floors that you see in front of you, the exterior improvements, the new HVAC in this very building. So some folks from the community have expressed concerns with the Savage Strip Center development that is proposed. I will say that, and for those of you that don't know what's being proposed is there's a dwelling, some sheds, and an existing building. The proposal that we have is to keep that original one-story masonry building and then add a second building that would be commercial, about 4,500 square feet of commercial with residential on top. That proposal was submitted to the county. We actually denied a request for a parking reduction, so it's likely that they're going to have to completely redesign that project. They wanted a 51% parking reduction. We did not approve it. And there's a number of agencies that have comments on the plan. So our understanding is they're thinking about resubmitting something smaller footprint for that new building. So we're kind of waiting to see what happens with their resubmission.
I think Josh, a few things on your end, the environment.
Sure. My name is Josh Feldmark. I am the Director of the Office of Community Sustainability. I've been recently calling myself the County Executive's green right hand, which I do kind of to be funny because I like to do that, but also that as an indication of sort of what the work of my office does. And recently, that's been really focused on a couple of key components that I think are important here in Savage, the main one being the comprehensive redoing of the Forest Conservation Act. For too long, there's been too easy of an ability to cut down trees, and so we've redesigned it through our state law authorization to be able to make sure that more trees stay up, and that the penalties for cutting them down are more severe. So that is going into effect, started just about a month ago. And then the other components of it, as you guys are all too aware, being right here on the banks of the Patuxent, we're in the headwaters of the Patuxent River, one of the signature rivers of the Chesapeake Bay, which, if you know anything about ecology, the headwaters of a river system are the most important. And so it is up to us to protect and preserve the land around this river so we can have clean water for everybody. And so through our pollinator initiative, through our preservation of meadows, through our open space preservation, it is about preserving and protecting our air, our water, and our land. There's one specific question that was in here that I thought I'd get to. Might as well be specific for once. And that there was a question about Howard Eco Works. It's an organization that works in Howard County that we are the primary partners with. We fund them to do essentially a conservation corps where they train young people for environmental careers. And we work with them to do projects around the county, and we are excited and interested in developing a series of projects that they can do in and around the Savage area for stormwater protection, for increase in habitat, and other types of projects. So we're very excited about working with you guys to develop that.
Jake, you guys talk about the transportation piece. And then I think this will be about wrapped up with most of the prepared. I think we've kind of had a lightning round, and we have some time. So after Bruce talks about a lot of transportation, I'm going to ask everybody up here to introduce themselves and what they do, and then we'll take some questions. Is that okay, Susan? All right.
Okay, well, there's been a lot of activity by DPW, so I'll let them say that good news that the county executive touched on. But there's some questions about the North Laurel Connector project, and that is in final engineering. Chris Etoff from my office is standing in the back of the report that we have on that project. We recently had an open house last month, so we're making some tweaks to those plans and positioning ourselves for what we hope and plan to be a successful state grant application for that project, which is about a $500,000 to $600,000 project. So that's moving forward nicely. We also recently had the County Council, thank you County Council, for adopting our Walk Howard Master Plan. That included 43 projects.
So just very briefly, let me tell you that Christiana was a strong partner on that. She really fought hard. In legislative bodies, a lot of times people have certain niches and things that they're really interested in or take leadership on. And a lot of the Walk Howard pedestrian stuff, Jen Terrazza was very active and showed a lot of leadership on, and Christiana is doing that too. So I just wanted to kind of give you that heads up.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go a step further because I started my career as a legislative staffer, and she's got two of the most involved legislative staff on those types of issues that have my phone number and ask me questions and ask Jim, and so that's, I mean, kudos to her because she hired them, but that just goes to another point. But within that project, that plan, there's 43 structured projects. This had nothing to do with me, so I don't take any credit. There's an ordering of those projects. We're careful not to rank order that top percentage, but my staff did you all a favor, and we actually listed them instead of the typical north to south. We went south to north, so you have a number 2 project in the plan. I want to be clear what the number 2 means, but it's one of the few structured projects, and that deals with the portion of the. Now I'm looking at there we go. So this from involves sides from the west side of Savage and Guilford Road from Balmer Street to Jefferson Street. So that's about a $300,000 cost. We haven't worked this into the budget yet. That is a challenge, but that is just a point of within that how important some of these structured projects to our pedestrian master plan is. So I wanted to highlight that for you. US 1 is another concern that we know you have had. We have been working closely with US 1 on safety improvements up and down the border. So whereas Amy talked about some of the challenges with the master plan, Route 1, please be assured that some of the safety projects that we're working with SHA on are still very high priority, and we have meetings with them, and it's made it into the top tier of our priority letter list to the state for this year, or it's under consideration by the council next week. So those are just a few of the highlights on the transit side. We're doing a lot more to make that system reliable. It's not specific to your area, but just knowing that we are putting out apps that have real-time bus information that will be coming online soon to make better use of that transit system, better connectivity throughout the county, so we can hopefully improve that service now that we've proven it to be reliable and have access. So you all had some questions. I think that were more related to some specific things that DPW is doing, but I'll be around afterwards to to answer those questions and any other safety-related matters we have.
Thank you, Bruce. Jim, can you talk about some of the DPW stuff?
Good evening, Jim Irvin, Director of Public Works. Thank you for letting us be here tonight. I'd just like to dispel the rumor that we built this building many years ago. It's not quite true. We did a few renovations.
I've been telling people you built it yourself.
One of these days we'll get it right. As you know, we just recently completed the roundabout, and hopefully that's been working pretty well. And there's like 30-some roundabouts in the county, and this one's built pretty consistently without including the signage. I know there's some issues with people getting used to it, so we'd be glad to work with the community association talking about publicizing the do's and the don'ts of roundabouts. I think the other big project we've been working on with your community is the Complete Streets project. And the budget's not out officially. We've been lobbying the executive to get some additional funds to at least do another phase of that project. And hopefully we will get that in the near future, but we would like to do Washington Street. Marshall Davidson's here as the project manager, and we have the details in the back there if you'd like to look at that. So we're really excited about the rest of the project. We've still got 6 more right-of-ways to acquire, and the community to do everything, so that's a labor of love to get everybody to agree with acquisition. So we're going to keep plugging away at that. So there's also some issues with traffic in the community. We do have a C-Click Fix program for signage, things that are not working right or broken. If you just load those into our app, you can get out there and get the repairs, and you can actually follow the repair work as we do it, and you can follow up with that. So please use C-Click Fix if you can. It's a good tool for help us to communicate and get things done. You also asked about the traffic light at Howard Street and Route 1. That's a state highway signal. We've asked for them to take a look at that. We don't control the operation of that. So it's something that we've asked, and hopefully they can make some improvements to that. So also there was an issue with the crosswalk at Gorman Road, and we'll get that done this spring or early summer as soon as the weather breaks. And I guess the biggest one also is concerns about Bowman Bridge. This project we're going to try to do is a temporary one with in front of the school to see if everybody agrees with it. There's some pluses and minuses with striping the road. To make the improvements, we're going to have to ask the residents to give up some on-street parking. So we're going to try it out and let everybody come and see how things work. And we'll work with the school system to do that in the spring, hopefully. So stay tuned for that. And again, there's a lot of other miscellaneous issues in this area. We'd be glad to work with you or have specific follow-ups. Please let us know. Chris Jagarapi, the bureau chief here in Highways, is here, so he's the guy that's going to end up dealing with things that we want fixed. So.
Can you raise your hand again? Yes. And he's really, really good. Thank you. So what I'd like to do is just have everyone introduce themselves and their title, and then we'll open it up for some questions. You want to start with Brian?
Good evening. Vernon Thompson with the Economic Development Authority for Howard County. We are primarily responsible for the business attraction and retention, job creation for small business, and we run an innovation center in the Gateway Business Park that is 60,000 square feet of space for emerging businesses, assistance, counseling, finance, etc. So we work very closely with DPZ on the Route 1 master plan, and we are advocating for a restart, hopefully, of the job creation tax credit or the beautification tax credit on Route 1 that helps to improve the overall Route 1.
Hi, good evening. I'm Dr. Maura Rossman. I'm the health officer for Howard County Health Department, and the health department is responsible for the public health of Howard County. And that's all I'm going to say at the moment. It's not often. This is like one of the few times that people actually know what public health does.
Dr. Rossman has been working almost 24/7 the last several days. We've been talking late in the evening, early in the morning. She's been our liaison to the state. She is really doing a fantastic with Angela Cabellon, our Deputy Chief Administrative Officer, on a lot of our public health initiatives, which are, as Dr. Rossman so astutely noted, in the forefront of everyone's minds these days. And just did Jim, did Amy, Raul's Rex and Parks, Bruce's Transportation.
Good evening. My name is Mike Yetter. I'm the Captain and Sub-District Commander for Police Department. And I just want to take this one opportunity. I know the executive will be brief, but I think this is the second meeting we've been down here in about 2 months. I just want to extend our thanks to you, the community. We work very hard to establish partnerships and build on the relationships that we have. And based on those and our coordination with the county council, especially Christiana, who expresses a lot of your concerns back to us, as well as a lot of the individual members here that bring your concerns and your troubles to us. We're able to come out here and be proactive. And the crime numbers in this area right now, when we pulled them this week, are astonishingly low. And that's a great thing. You should be very proud of yourself. To keep this short, I know a lot of people have specific questions that they have about individual issues, and I'll remain here as well as the future commander will be taking my place here in a couple of days, Captain Phil Mullenix, and we'll answer all your questions and answer that you have at that time. Thank you.
Thank you. We already covered Josh.
Hello, Holly Sun. I'm the budget administrator. Just want to announce that the county executive's residence budget hearing will be the Thursday at 6 o'clock. So you are all welcome to testify, or if you want to choose to avoid the crowd, you can watch online or just submit your testimony online. Thank you.
We have several other members sprinkled throughout constituent services. I talked about Angela, Jennifer is Deputy Chief of Staff. And so now without further ado, Kim Prime, Head of Constituent Services. Without further ado, let's open it up to questions. I don't know how you want to organize. Okay, so go ahead and line up for the mics, and then we'll take them alternating.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, first place I want to thank you all for being here this evening. But the question I have is, I'd like to know, when is the pool going to be, when are you going to start building the pool at the North Laurel Center? Because we're kind of waiting for it. I know they had some plannings and they planned it all out. I just wondering when you're going to start building.
So I think that's a me question. I'm in the process of building the budget now, and as you know, I'm going to have to make some really tough decisions. And the pool is one of the things that we're balancing with our schools, a lot of other capital funding projects. So it is still under consideration, and we're trying to work through it.
Well, thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bethany. First, I want to say thank you for being here tonight. Secondly, I have a little issue. You said that you were going to start work on Washington Street. Is that both ends of Washington Street?
Sure. Yeah, first, the project's not funded yet, so we have to get through the budget process, but there is a conceptual drawing in the back and both are proposing to do. And Marshall can go over the nuts and bolts with it.
So I have
So Marshall with the purple tab.
Okay, I'll let you look at that, but I have a request in regard to Washington Street. I live on Washington Street over across from the mill, and I love the mill. I love everything about the mill, but when the mill has a lot of big events, all of our parking on the street is taken up. I live in a home that has a driveway, but it's only so big, it can't fit a whole lot of cars, and a lot of the other homes in the area are split up into apartments that have no designated parking, and a lot of times me and my neighbors, we come home and there's no parking for us, and we have to park blocks away. So I was wondering if it would be possible if we could get residential parking on just half of the street.
You're talking about residential parking permits, so that requires state legislation to enable that. This has come up over the years, and again, the issue becomes an enforcement one too. There's a lot of other communities, particularly townhouse communities, have significant parking problems. So it gets to be an issue of how far do you want to go with it. It is illegal to park in front of somebody's driveway right now. People can't do that, it's a ticketable offense.
But it's not illegal to park in front of someone's mailbox, right?
It's, no, just in front of the driveway or obviously far higher within the intersections. But again, to do a residential parking program requires the state to give us authority to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Robin Vestal. I live down in Savage Guilford. I had two things. One is my big concern about how people fly down Savage Guilford and try to run you down and hit you. If we can do some traffic calming things that would really be nice. Because I've had people try to pass me on my left as I try to make left into my driveway. And it's happened multiple times, and I bring it up every so often. Our meetings, but that would be a nice thing if that would come into the budget. So we have speed bumps, but they're not, apparently they were shaved down, I'm not really quite sure, but why, because I wasn't here when that happened, but that would be my petty concern. My other concern is...
Before you move off of that, are there particular days or times of the day that you see it, or is it just all the time?
It happens all the time. You know, it's really hard to predict, but it's shocking when you have your left turn signal on and you're slowing down to make a left into your house and somebody tries to pass you at the left. You know, it's a residential street. One thing that I would suggest is I don't know why that's a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, which is the same thing as Oregon Road, which has sidewalks on each side.
No, the innocent ones get ticketed.
Yeah, I mean, things that would slow down traffic would really be nice. If they have permanent speed cameras where the Bethel Academy is, I mean, that always works because people don't like to get in tickets, but I agree.
No, I'm an attorney. I'm an attorney and I agree.
Okay. And the other thing is my own personal thing as a Howard County resident, which is supposed to be a welcoming and diverse county. And it's not so yeah, well, I've been volunteering at the Howard County Detention Center for Catholic Services for the last 8 years, and Howard County holds immigration detainees.
Yes, that's what my next question was regarding the ICE contract.
And the stories are horrible. People are really suffering, and now immigration, ICE started rearresting people that were released. So there was a gentleman that just was returned to immigration detention who was in there for 3 years. He was released in like 2014, and a week and a half ago he was rearrested for no reason. I searched the criminal case record, so he didn't have any offenses. And he's been seeking asylum. I'm not really sure the stories of how he got released. I've talked to his lawyer a little bit, but you know, he's in fear for his life if he's deported. And I'm not sure why somebody would take someone who was working full-time, contributing to society, and arrest them for no reason. And I don't want my county participating in that and profiting off of that.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. And whenever there are allegations or stories like that, if you could make sure to let us know.
Oh, I'd be happy to. I can give you
Yeah, please do. Because each time that we've heard it, often, every time, that wasn't the case. I personally have looked at the arrest rationale for everyone in there who is being held as a detainee. And the things that I've seen are not arrested for no reason, arrested just because they were an undocumented immigrant. And so if there are, and I don't want this to be a dialogue, because we can do that another time, but if there are ever questions or allegations of specific incidences of people, please let us know. We evaluate and investigate. We've been doing that thus far, and not one time, other than 2017, but not one time since I've been county executive, with the numerous allegations, have anybody just been arrested for being undocumented and held. So please give us that information.
I'm very happy to do that. I promise you that people are there without detention, and even people that have served time for offenses who have all of their family here in this country, to be deported to a country that they don't remember is not the right thing to do either.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we have other questions. Listen.
Could you get Dr. Ross to explain to us how well prepared they are to take care of the coronavirus and how well equipped the Howard County General Hospital is for patients that are confirmed with the virus?
Yeah, hi, thank you for that, and thank you for allowing me to participate tonight at your forum. So, I sort of jokingly said, one of the good things is now people know what public health does. That's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but the reality is one of the things that our responsibility is in public health is to be prepared in the type of a health emergency like this. And I'm going to say generally it's about every 10 years that there is sort of some major new virus. If you remember H1N1, etc. I do, because I've been around the block a little bit. So the public health responsibility is absolutely to be prepared to respond in the case of an event. There are 24 public health jurisdictions in the state of Maryland, and we all report to the Maryland Department of Health. And as was previously mentioned by the county executive, it's been about a month, I think, that we've been working not only with the Maryland Department of Health, but the myriad of government and other agency organizations, which include Howard County General Hospital, our one hospital here in Howard County, and their, I guess, system it's called, Johns Hopkins, which is their mothership. We've been working with the school system, Office on Aging, and again, et cetera, all the other different agencies for the past month. So as you can imagine, we've escalated sort of what we normally do. There's sort of the day-to-day work of preparedness, but I can tell you that we have about 200 employees in our health department, and about half of us pretty much now are spending our full time being able to manage this event. Right now, I would say Maryland is in a phase called containment. There are 9 cases. All are travel acquired or imported into the state of Maryland. And I would imagine, and the messages, you should go to our website. There's lots of information that you can find on our website. It's all credible information. I know that there's lots of rumors going around. Just sitting here tonight, I get lots of texts from people asking me things, and we're able to verify things, or not. And you will begin to see messages on our health department sort of as we dial up as this outbreak continues, from the basic preventative measures that I hope all of us practice every day, hand hygiene, covering your cough, not going out when you're sick or going to school or to work, to more messaging about if you, we know now that there are some groups that are higher risk for getting sicker from the virus than others, and that includes the elderly and those with chronic health conditions. So you're beginning to see more heavy messaging on ways that all of us can protect ourselves. And that's one thing that is, you should leave this building feeling that there are things that you can do to decrease your risk. Again, those are the basic things of hand hygiene, trying to keep your hands away from your face, washing surfaces, again, not going out with your sick. If you are vulnerable, not visiting someone that's sick. And then lastly, I'll leave it with social distancing, where we're really trying not to bring big groups together unless you really have to be there. We had a library event, I think it was Miller, this afternoon. We had 20 participants in person, and we live streamed it, and we had 600 people watching. And if you're watching at home, then you don't have to be worried about who's next to you. And so you'll be seeing more of that coming from the county government. It's not that we don't want to hear from you, that we want to be able to provide you the same services using the technology that we have now in 2020 compared to years ago. So I think we're as prepared as we can be. Are there some hiccups and things that we need to work on? Absolutely, but I can tell you there's many, many people working on that to keep us all as safe and healthy as possible, and we really need your help. All of us have personal responsibility to help with that, and also, if in fact somebody, you do need to hunker down at home, make sure you have your supplies, and make sure you're checking on your neighbors, because we may all need something sometime. I know we do that at snowstorms, so I know we can do it now.
Thank you. If you can just come up to the mic. Come up to the mic.
Dr. Ball, you know why I'm here. And I know that we're still in the middle of the budget, but just wanted to check in and see what is the status of the human renovation and funding for it.
So, as many of you know, the school board is a separately elected body who makes the prioritization of the money that they get. They had a proposal from the superintendent, and then they moved that to the board. They first prioritized High School 13 and systemic renovations. I have been strongly advocating to also have Hammond as a priority. There is a partnership between the local jurisdiction, us, and the state, and we are in the middle, or not in the middle, but near the end of session. So the two state components that I think are relevant to the Hammond conversation are the IAC, which is the Interagency Commission, I think it is. They rank order the projects that they're going to fund, and it goes from A, B, C. A meaning top priority, get all the funding, then B down. Hammond was given a B ranking, so I sent in a letter and I've been advocating for it to move to an A ranking, and then relatedly, the Build to Learn funding from the state level, which I think it's going through very well. I think we have the House of Delegates, the State Senate, and the Governor on board with that additional funding. Once the session ends, we should be getting that additional funding, that paired with our local funding, and then hopefully an increase in prioritization with the IAC. My hope is that Hammond moves forward. But again, that is up to the prioritization of the Board of Education and the school system. So I think we still don't know, but I remain hopeful and I remain a strong advocate. Any other friends who want to come up and...
Hi, my name is Cecily Christian. I'm actually a resident of Aspenwood, but I work here at the hall, so I'll call myself Savage tonight. I just wanted to get an update on how we're doing with the opioid crisis and human trafficking, given the fact that this area tends to be a pretty high corridor for those types of activities, or historically has been. I don't know if it is now, but if we could just get an update on that, I appreciate it.
Is my friend Carl still here? No. Nope. All right, who wants to...
I can take the opioids.
Okay, so just in brief, the way that I've structured my administration is very similar. Is I have a couple policy folks who work on a lot of those deep issues, and then many of my other senior staff oversee departments and their portfolios. Carl DiLorenzo handles policy and a lot of health policy, so things related to addiction, prevention, and misuse, homelessness, a lot of those things fall in his portfolio. On the health side, I want to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Rossman. She is one of our valued partners on those issues. The health department, Horizon, the hospital, some of our private partners are all working together. So, Dr. Rossman, what you got?
Yeah, thank you, and I thank you for the time. Like, pull up the statistics so accurate. So we've been at this a few years with a very specific strategy, and we have the good fortune, I think, through our hard work, which involves the police, EMS, and a variety of different partners in the county, that our overdose fatalities are down 40%, and that's been sustained for more than a year. So that's really terrific news. On the work that we still have to do is that our overdoses, the number of people that are overdosing combined, both fatal and non-fatal, is now around the same as it was a year ago. So we're saving lives, but we still have work to do to reduce the number of individuals that are overdosing.
Thank you, Dr. Rossman. And I see a continuum of care. There are just different people at different stages of substance misuse, and there are different reasons. And so, you know, whether it's something related to mental health, something related to stressors that are happening, you know, financial, what have you, homelessness prevention, especially on the chronic side. These are all things that I see as interrelated. And so if we can, on the entirety of the continuum of care, offer the services that help prevention and help people get saved, then that's something that we're working on. And another issue that I also think is tangentially related is human trafficking. And that's something that we've been making a lot of progress on in the county, and we hired someone. Did we hire Andrea? Yeah, 2 months ago, and she was a coordinator. What's her title?
The manager.
Manager. And so we hired someone who is amazing. She's already been in Annapolis a couple times testifying, and we are working very hard, and I am now personally meeting quarterly with an entire human trafficking prevention team to see our progress and continue encouraging us to work hard. We actually just had a meeting today. So we are making progress on all of those issues that I see as related.
Hi, Wayne here. Just wanted to thank you all for being here. I had a quick question on the public health issue. As far as the capacity for testing for COVID-19, how that's going and how you see it in the next month or so.
Yeah, that's a great question because I know it's in the news a lot, and that's one of the things I think that there's some misinformation about. So right now, as of this moment, the Maryland Department of Health Laboratory is performing all tests for patients in Maryland. Soon coming up online will be Quest and LabCorp, the commercial labs where you go, where I go to get my cholesterol or whatever it may be, which will greatly expand the capacity for testing. How it will work is that any provider can write an order for a lab, as you do for your cholesterol. The provider would be collecting the specimen in the doctor's office, and then it would be transported to the commercial lab. So I expect, I think you said over the month or week, that the capacity will increase fairly significantly.
So could we take maybe 2 more questions? Is that okay? Right.
A lot of familiar faces here. As you know, I work at the PTA Council, where I had as a recruiter here, and in our community Savage, I volunteer a lot. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you for your good news for Between the Bridges and support of that. I personally collect signatures from hundreds of people every year, and it is a 99.99% positive thing for the community. In a broader spectrum, we're in a historic site, you know, a 100-year-old building surrounded by 200-year-old buildings, a lot of history in this particular area. And we have a general plan coming up. If you look at the general plans throughout the years, our first one was going to turn West Riverhill into an industrial park, and we were going to have airports everywhere. Then Columbia and Rouse came, and we changed our general plan for clusters and NT zoning. In the 90s, we looked at our general plan, and it said all development would stop by 2005, schools would be depopulated, and we'd be closing schools in the near future. As you well know, that is not occurring. Now we're moving into a new general plan, and especially in the context of history, we look through history and we look at how we've looked at opportunistic things in the general plan. The new communities be able to have much more input into our future, our long-term future of Howard County, because the typical names I see on those historical things are all familiar land developers you see over and over and over again, and our policies tend to reflect the opportunity. So, long-winded question, how much community input can we get from the people who plan to live here for the next several generations?
Great question. So I recognize and appreciate that sometimes expectations fall short. You know, Back to the Future had us by 2015 with flying cars, and I'm very disappointed that Marty McFly and Doc Brown lied to us. And as a council member, I actually worked on the last general plan, and I remember as a candidate, I held the previous general plan as like one of my most important training manuals, and had dog ears and everything. And that's a way of getting to, yes, there will be a significant amount of public input. Remember, not only will we be going through, as the administration, a process, we'll be going through the council, and I think as you've seen, maybe not as much as you wanted, but there will be an iterative process with the consultants, with the administration, with the council, and there will be a transparent public process. And I think that, you know, there are ways that we can improve upon, especially this current product. Do you want to add anything?
Sure, I'd be happy to. There's going to be a lot. We made a significant investment in public engagement for this plan. We'll have the traditional, you know, kind of town hall meetings where we'll invite the community to come in and provide input. We'll have a number of opportunities for online engagement, surveys, website, etc. But we also have a couple newer methods that we're going to be bringing to the community this year. One of them is it's kind of a meeting in a box, it's called, or an on-the-table engagement. And so it's wonderful. I mean, you can bring this to a PTA meeting, you can bring this to a Rotary Club, you can do it at your community meeting, and it will be a structured meeting where you can provide input. It's short and it's easy, but it will directly inform the different growth scenarios that we'll be looking at. In addition to that, we're going to have a board game for Howard County, where you can actually play a physical board game of the county. We're developing it right now. And that will be another opportunity. The game is structured and developed in a way where it will directly influence and inform the different growth scenarios. And then there'll be a whole process, again, for looking at different growth scenarios and then inviting the community to provide input. So that was a quick version of some of the stuff we're doing, but I'm pretty excited about it, and I think that hopefully it's very well received and the community will get a lot of participation.
And I'd be remiss in my role as a PTA council president. All of you are invited in that role to review the general plan amongst our delegates too, because prior plans did not have a strong relationship between education and the growth plans. We experienced that this week in health sessions, and we would love to make sure education is a key component in the general plan.
And great point. One of the things that Amy and I have been talking about is how to better reach out to all these groups and have these important conversations. There is going to be a time when, you know, for example, the county council will have structured hearings, but there are going to be other times where we will actually be much more aggressively and assertively reaching out and soliciting input and feedback.
Thank you very much.
Time for the short deal. We had a community member call me this afternoon. She was quite ill. She cannot attend. Hopefully she's watching from home. And I promised her I would bring this issue up if her neighbor couldn't make it. So if there's someone here who was asked to come and speak about deer management, I'll be happy to give the microphone to you. No, it looks like it's up to me. Savage is a town which doesn't get its feathers ruffled on the general concept of deer management. We see the necessity. We've had presentations from Rec and Parks in the past. But she did ask me to bring up her objection to the fact that our sharpshooter management is occurring after rutting season. So in other words, for those who are into deer, this means that pregnant deer are being culled in this process. And she would, although she supports the concept of taking more does, because that is a genuine technique for culling herds, she's asking if there's any possibility going forward that we could not be going after the rutting season. So I'm looking at Raul because
I too am looking at
Yeah, thanks for the question. I will pose that question to our deer managers, and I know we take the doe out for a certain reason because they could have triplets, twins, or whatever, to increase that population. That's why they take the doe out. So I'll bring that up to them and talk to them. I'll get back to you, Susan, on that because they're the professionals in regards to when they do it and what part of the season they do it. And also we have to adhere to what DNR allows, and they allow certain parts of the year for us to do sharpshooting and also our deer management program. So we'd also have to run it by them as we can do it beyond that rut season. So.
As you can see, there's no issue too big or too small.
That's right.
And we do appreciate everyone coming out to us. And welcome your stay to take additional questions if you're able. And don't forget cake.
And remember, there are still poster boards, there's visual information. This is not the end of the conversation. If there are things that you still have questions about or you didn't formulate it, get home and say, oh, I want to know about that, continue to reach out to us. We're here to serve and to work with you, and we appreciate the opportunity and the honor to be here and speak with you. So thank you so much, everyone. So one more thing. One of the most important things, and see, this is why I hire people smarter than me and then just let them do their job. The census. So it's once a decade. It impacts our federal dollars. For every person who isn't counted, we can lose more than $18,000. And when we're looking at the last couple, 2010 and 2000, some of the areas around Savage have performed the poorest as far as being counted. We want to make sure everyone is counted. We want to make sure you get your money's worth. And so please, not only it opens up this Thursday, but you need your PIN number. So not everybody will get it like right on the day, and then April 1st is Census Day. Please, I need you to fill out the census, and I need you to tell everyone you know, fill out the census, because I want everyone in Howard County and everyone in Savage and North Laurel County. Is that good?